folks, unless you happen to be listening at a time that is not evening, in which case, good whatever the hell time it is where you are. Today we're going to be tackling a guy named TheMysteriousMrEnter. I know we haven't done Worst of YouTube in a while, and hell, this stream isn't even called Worst of YouTube, but I could not resist the urge to do a thumbnail of a CalArts style, although 3D, but with the CalArts face kid staring at the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. I could not resist the opportunity to do that. So my apologies if this stream seems a little bit weird and rushed. You see, I wasn't going to stream, at least not on YouTube tonight. I was just going to play video for a little bit on Twitch, but my inbox has been fairly inundated with this guy, TheMysteriousMrEnter. Now, I have not watched the review yet, the 9/11 video. I know he mentions 9/11, and I know he's annoyed that the Red Panda movie doesn't mention 9/11. That's all I know about the review. So we're going to go in pretty fucking blind, deaf, and dumb, and I'm excited about that. First things first, though, how is everyone this evening? Before we get started, before we start diving in and getting dark and disturbed, are you aware that Vince? To be fair, I called it CalArts. I'm going to pass the buck a little bit here, but I called it CalArts because somebody in the chat called it CalArts. I'm not really certain what the art style is called, but I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. Modern. I'll just call it modern. You all are on some straw man shit. I haven't actually started making arguments yet, so interested to know how you arrived at that conclusion. But wait, no, I'm not. Oh, I really like the Iron Giant. I actually was going to watch the Iron Giant earlier. I found my DVD copy of it. Yes, I do still watch physical media. Still watch DVD, Blu-ray, and even VHS. Because some films are only available on VHS. And some films, very, very rare, are best enjoyed on VHS. A very rare type of film. Like Halloween 3 or the original Ring movie from 1998. Those are literally the only two I can think of. Or maybe the Blair Witch Project. But films that are intrinsically linked to the VHS media, I think. Although Halloween 3 isn't, it has that very electronic, analog technology style. But that's not to do with what we're talking about right now. What we are talking about is TheMysteriousMrEnter. Now, before we get cracking with the great review, I want to have a look at some of his stuff, Who is this guy? What's he all about? Well, there's an entire playlist on YouTube here. I should be sharing the screen, really, shouldn't I? That would be better. There's an entire playlist here on YouTube all about Seth MacFarlane. It's just called Mr. Enter versus Seth MacFarlane. You see, I looked for it because I know there's a famous rant, the famous Seth MacFarlane rant, where he effectively addresses Seth MacFarlane as if Seth MacFarlane, the showrunner for Family Guy and American Dad, The Orville, which is one of the best science fiction shows in recent memory, is going to be sitting around watching people criticize him on YouTube. I don't know, I'm pretty skeptical that that's happening, but I think it's in one of these videos. It's like, if I could address Seth for a moment. It's fucking bizarre. So if anyone knows what video that's in, please remind me so we can specifically watch that together. But I also would like to talk about this. It is an Indiegogo. If you're not sure what Indiegogo is, it is, this is from years ago. People ask me, is this, at the beginning of the stream, someone said in the chat, is this a new thing or an old thing? Well, the Turning Red review is new. It's a couple of days old. It came out like Saturday, I think. So it's a couple of days old. I only found out about it today, but I've had a lot of messages about it. This is quite an old thing. So we're doing our usual thing of looking at stuff that's way too old for us to be discussing, and then jumping into, holy shit, look at that like to dislike ratio. Sweet fucking Jesus, Mr. Enter. I don't think you made a good video here, Sunshine. I really do not. Oh God, I can hear the stream. Stop it. God, boomer moments completely in on my part there. Fuck me. Not even sure what Turning Red is about besides a girl turning into a red panda. I think it is a prequel to... Look at that face, my goodness. How can you not hate that? Like, I have no idea if the movie's any good, but my God. Yeah, so well, I think it's a prequel to Kung Fu Panda. It's about Master Shifu and how he came to be. He actually originally came from like a human world, and then what you don't realize about Kung Fu Panda is it's post-apocalyptic. It's after all the humans have turned into animals, and one of the first among them, or perhaps his great grandmother or whatever, who's the little girl from Turning Red. But that's just a theory. Shut the fuck up, MatPat theory. I don't like that guy, MatPat. But we've talked about him. We've talked about MatPat enough, haven't we? But I'm excited to check out this review. I'm actually intentionally looking at other shit just to prolong the inevitable. Thank you very much, Y'all Xander, for the £5. I seriously have not thought about the mysterious Mr. Enter in a few good years. I was hoping to keep that streak up. I am genuinely sorry that... I am genuinely sorry that I've brought this all up for you again. These horrible memories. Sad trauma. Comments turned off is always a good sign, isn't it? Comments being disabled is always a bloody good sign. Now, let's have a look at the failed Indiegogo campaign. Now, by the way, this is not just me saying, ha ha ha, this guy failed at something he cares about. I've done crowdfunding before. It's hard, and it's difficult when you're extremely passionate about something, but you have no proof of concept or proof of product that you've got the goods. It's very difficult to raise funding, and I do fully understand that. However, when you look at Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaigns like this one, you can actually pinpoint exactly where it went wrong. So let's have a look here. Select perk, $50. What do I get? A poster. Can you believe it, guys? I can't believe this failed. For $50, you get a whole poster. Amazing. I mean, that could be on your wall. You know, for just the price of like 5 Blu-rays of like Criterion movies, you know? A poster of a project that ought to be free on YouTube. Right, let's have a look at the video anyway.
Do you remember what it was like being a kid? Do you remember how you had to wake up early, sometimes even before the sun had come up, to get ready to go to school?
That's a good start. I wonder if you can hear it. I can't.
On.
I can hear it now. I'm going to start it again.
Couldn't care less. Do you remember what it was like being a kid? Do you remember how you had to wake up early, sometimes even before the sun had come up, to get ready?
I mean, I still wake up early because I have a job, but go on.
School, a place that you'd come to dislike as the years had rolled on. A place where they put information in your head that you couldn't care less about. Your only...
No, I went to a good school.
Reprieve during the day was a brief bit of
what is this?
Which was a luxury that was ripped
Christ, I'm a boomer.
As they wanted to prepare you for more and more tests. In these times, it felt like imagination was all that you had to carry you forward to the next day. You were able to make the world so much more exciting in your head. You'd be thinking of schools
it occurs to me it's probably... Oh, no, that's...
Math.
There we go.
Those dishes that you hated cleaning, they'd become the centerpiece of a game of baseball. And that bedtime that your parents saddled you with, what if that was their bedtime?
What?
Then maybe you'd think, what if you were the one in charge?
What?
I want to bring that thought to life with a show that I call Growing Around.
Okay, so... First of all, I hate it. There's no animation here, is there? It's just still images. An animated series, but there's no animation provided. So again, I can see where the problem with the money is coming in here. You're asking for a lot. You know, 200 and nearly just shy of 270 grand. That feels like a lot of money to me. I don't know. Also, I just heard an alert, but I didn't see what it was. So sorry for not acknowledging the alert I just got. But I did get a super chat, which I think was unrelated to the alert sound. I am very good at computer. Thank you, Jim Rockwell, for the $2. He's cringe, but what did he do this time? So, I don't know if you saw the thumbnail when you clicked on. It does feature the World Trade Center. He made a review that's done very, very poorly. I'll just quickly click on it again. We're going to watch it a bit later, but look at that like to dislike ratio right there. Look at, isn't it beautiful? 8.6 thousand dislikes to 2.1 thousand likes. It's going to be bad. And all I know about it, I haven't seen it yet, but all I know is that he talks about how this film is bad because it doesn't talk about 9/11. So, oh god, I can't wait. This part's just, this is the, this is the anticipation. This is the teasing here. Also, don't call it growing around. See what I'm trying to do here?
It's
I
trying to be a
get why
cartoon
it's going
about an
wrong. So basically, there's little ads coming up. I'm trying to press the close button, but the close button is right where the pop-up button is. It's stupid. That's not his fault. That's the way Indiegogo's designed. But I don't like the title. The title feels like a fake show. It doesn't feel like an actual show you'd make. But again, you can fix that later. It's a working title. I get it.
Energetic and wildly imaginative little girl named Sally Dunn as she navigates issues of family, friends, and her typical daily life in a world where kids make all of the rules. They run the schools, the homes, the towns, and the countries. It sounds like it would be a world of fun and games.
No, that would be chaos.
And some days it is, as Sally helps her parents with their homework, like getting the highest score in the latest video game, or creating the absolute best superhero identity. But
how do you stretch this into a whole cartoon? To me, this feels like some Bizarro World, Freaky Friday-esque, story that would be a one-off or a two-parter in an actual show. This is not a series. Like, you couldn't get more than 2 episodes out of this premise.
even a world of fun and games isn't always fun and games. Childhood is a time of extremes, and growing around takes his fantasies and removes the safety brakes. A simple game of tag could drive an entire city into the apocalypse. After all, if you want the game to end, you're probably just the person who's it, and is tricking them into being tagged. Growing around builds the world that kids would create if they did have the power and just runs with it. In this world, if you want that new top-of-the-line toy that's being blasted out on all of the commercials, you can buy it. In fact, you've gotta buy it. After all, your boss only wants to promote.
Growing around sounds like it should be a pun title. Yeah, kind of. It just reminds me of Horsing Around from BoJack Horseman. I don't know if this is older than that. Oh, pardon me, folks. I'm getting an important call from Mr. Krabs. Hello? Oh, fabulous. Mm-hmm. Oh, fabulous. So you're coming home early. Mm-hmm. That's terrible. Yeah. Gemma, you are aware that you are just sorry to interrupt. You are aware I'm live streaming right now. Okay, you're not on speaker. You can't be heard. Don't worry, because you're talking about work and that those things are confidential. But just so you're aware that I tried to tell you a minute ago, but obviously you have a bit of opinion upon it. Okay, well, I had a bunch of messages because MysteriousMrEnter did something really stupid, and I'm live streaming about it right now. So, but you can join me when you get back. You can tell me about your day when we're done. So I'll probably still be doing it when you get back. But I've sorted you out something to eat. So, yeah, no problem. Right, yeah, that's okay. Sorry, I just didn't want you to keep going and then to be really embarrassing. So that I'd better let you know, because I don't know if you got my text. I did text you to say I was doing it. Okay, that's no worries. Do you know roughly when you'll be back? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Okay. All right. People. By the way, it turns out, yeah, people can kind of hear you a bit, so I'm definitely gonna go. But people, I've just looked at my phone and the chat's like, yeah, we can actually hear everything she's saying. So I was like, you're not on speaker. I'm just gonna mute the mic. Good lord, guys. Whew. Sorry about that. But you know, that's the life of an impromptu streamer. If I had a schedule, these things would not happen. But I do not. I got distracted as well, and I was really fucking confused by Aroma 59 Scent Reimagined, a solidified fragrance capsule. What the fuck is this person talking about? And how the hell did they get fully funded? I'm not done with that, but I'm gonna read the super chats and get back to growing around. But fuck me, Aroma 59. What's that all about? Kenzie, thank you very much for the $4.99. Cobe, I hope you're prepared for Mr. Enter. Oh, stupid phone. Hope you're prepared for Mr. Enter making a video calling you a harasser for daring to criticize him, a public figure. Yeah, I'm absolutely prepared for that. I could do with the extra traffic, to be honest. Thank you, some English bloke, for the £5. He says, can't believe Lord of the Flies, the animated series, didn't take off. That's exactly what it would be. Neighbor's Kid, thank you very much for the $5. Even though I do like Mr. Enter's content, I admit that he's had some shockingly bad takes over the years, and we will be jumping into some of those bad takes this evening, I think. Well, guys, I apologize to Gemma for accidentally broadcasting her phone conversation to, granted, only 65 people, so it could have been a lot worse. I could have been, reading a Jeff the Killer story or something and broadcasted it to 200 odd, but, we'll, just for now, we'll return to, you know what, fuck it, I want to know more about Aroma 59. Fuck Mr. Enter. This stream is already out of control. Tell me about Aroma 59. What is this great product? I like that the video is 1.5 minutes. How long is the growing around video? 3. We're already at the end of the Aroma 59 video, and I still don't fully understand growing around. So that might be something to do with its success. But let's have a look, shall we? Guys, you've only got 1.5 minutes. Time's ticking away. Stop with this shit. Christ, it's worse than the logos at the start of a movie. Just get on with it. Ah, I see. Aroma 59 terraforms worlds. I don't understand this product. We're actually now closer to the end than we are to the beginning, and I still don't know what the product is. This got fully funded. It's just have really good perks. If you give them $20, does the person who's running the campaign come to your house and blow you? Like, I don't know what the product is. That is a terrible video. Is it a pill? Is it a suppository? Is it an Amazon Echo? What is the product? I fucking don't know what this is. A line of fragrances that represent the power and calmness of nature. Do you rub it on yourself? It's an aftershave. It's an aftershave in a little capsule. Garbage. That should be I may export that as a separate video. I'm too lazy, but in the ideal world, I'd export that as a separate video, just getting distracted and talking about whatever the fuck that was. Thank you, IceClaw77 for the US dollar. I appreciate that. Thank you, Samantha, for the $5. Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced, and it takes place in modern-day Japan. I hope they talk about the Ukraine process. Yeah, because otherwise it wouldn't be realistic. You know, if Winnie the Pooh isn't talking... Actually, if it's... You know, they probably wouldn't have Winnie the Pooh in it now, would they? But if... who the fuck else is Disney own? If Mickey Mouse, you know, isn't talking about how Putin is a big meanie, then frankly, I don't want to play the game. Actually, I don't want to play Kingdom Hearts anyway. I'm very shocked, but I honestly feel slightly more empathetic towards the the Growing Around Kickstarter because of how fucking bad the Aroma 59 one is.
The coolest kid in the building, and let's just say that he's been having a few tantrums about it as of late. A brother and sister start fighting over a cereal box toy. With no parents to break them up, they do the only
I think there's pepper in my eye. That's unrelated to this, but my eye really hurts, and I was cooking earlier.
logical thing they can think of. Go to court. At its core, Growing Around is a show about growing up. And growing up...
What a wonderful cut. Just like, boom. At its core, it's all about growing. Just this, like, melancholic, you know, sad music.
...is difficult. We all know that. You learn that even your best friends sometimes move on and move away. That the people...
Or maybe the people you called your best friends, gal pals, if you will, never actually liked you in the first place.
In charge...
Easy joke, but, you know, when have I not picked the low-hanging fruit?
Don't always have your best interests in mind. It's a time of self-discovery as you come to terms with your direction in life, your identity, and your place in the world. Growing Around is a show that tackles these issues without sugarcoating or kid gloves, but it needs your help to come into existence. This show is a culmination of 4 years of work. I've been at it writing dozens of scripts and fine-tuning the world and the characters to perfection. However, there is one hurdle that is yet to be crossed, and that's the financial one. Growing Around is a series that isn't going to be afraid of touching any issue. Topics of sexuality, gender, existential crisis, cultural identity, regret, they will all be subject.
No, that's it. No. We're not talking about sexuality, alright? It's not going to happen. It's a show about kids for kids. Okay? No. Bad. Bad, Mr. Enter. Go to your room. But when you get there, don't think about kids. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. I'm not accusing him of anything. That's too easy a joke. I'm not... and that would also be irresponsible to actually suggest that. Oh my god, nobody claimed the poster. Can you believe it? No one wanted the poster. The $50 poster. Man. Oh. Usually the low-hanging fruit is Toby. It's like, Jacob, these nuts hang. Special thank you video, non-claimed. Oh, that's so bad. Nobody was like, oh, I'll pay 10. See, this one at least is like reasonable. Oh, you give me $10 and I'll make a video saying thank you. Like, considering, sorry, I was just distracted by the FAQ. We'll look at that in a moment. But considering he's like famous, and there's a bunch of famous people on something called Cameo, which by the way is the dumbest thing ever, and we will talk about Cameo eventually. And people paid fucking $2,000 for some washed up Hollywood. I was gonna say Hollywood, washed up Hollywood. I was thinking of Halloween and horror, you know, because that's what Hollywood is. It's a one big horror movie. But anyway, some washed up Hollywood actor to be like, hi, hey, how's it going, Tim? The guys at the office have told me to tell you to stop drinking all the coffee. All the best, Tim. Have a great birthday. It's me, some guy that used to be on Friends. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous. It's a terrible thing, and people pay for it. And no one paid $10 to actually help Mr. Enter and have him make a special video. That's fucking tragic. I actually feel bad for him on that one. But who cares? Because FAQ. Do the perks come with previous rewards? How long will each episode be? These are all quite sensible. Do people age backwards? I assume he means in the show, in general. Grow to kids, grow to teenagers. Okay. The others act like adults and the kids act like kids. Just such a weird fucking... Oh man, nobody claimed the trading card. $90. You do get a shirt. Guys, if you thought the $50 poster was a bargain for just... So I'm trying to do this bit like I can't fucking commit to it. For just $90, you can get a fucking Fruit of the Loom shirt that he's printed the fucking logo onto. Jesus Christ. Oh, there they are. Sorry, guys. I heard the jingle for Super Chats, but they weren't coming up on my phone. Thank you, Xander Aflame. I like your little avatar. For £2. He says, Cope talking about Mr. Enter. This is delicious. I assume that's how you meant it because it was in caps. Thank you, Brain Flare, for the $5 Australian. All right, just joined. What the hell did I miss? Well, sadly, you will never know what Aroma 95 is. But don't worry, neither will we, and we watched the commercial. $200. We will put your name or a short message or something similar in the actual pilot. It may be some graffiti. Or in a list. It must be in a list. Amazing. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say nobody claimed the name in show perk. 0 claimed. Background appearance. $500. We will animate you. Garbage. I feel bad looking at this. All right. So... we will, in a moment, get on to the new video, but I would also like to look at this.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Can I ask you guys a question?
I wonder whose voice that is, because I remember that from these old Mr. Enter videos. Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Do you think it was just like the hardest English guy he knew, which was probably someone from D&D?
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion is advised. Don't fucking come near me, you cunt.
Can I ask you guys a question? Think of a show that you...
And what's weird is having that voice at the beginning makes him sound weedier as well. Like anyone on YouTube, you know, I'm self-conscious about my voice. I think we all are in this, you know, quote-unquote business. But, like, I wouldn't get a guy with, like, a really good tough guy voice to announce my disclaimer at the beginning of the video. You know, I have the one on the Bad Creepypasta. It's like... may not be suitable for teenagers or whatever, under 16, and it's just like, I can't remember what my fucking disclaimer says, but you know, if I had some Tony Todd motherfucker coming in and reading the disclaimer, I'd suddenly feel very self-conscious about how I speak. So, yeah, it's weird to me. But kudos to him for being confident, I guess.
really, really like. What would it take to make you quit it? Maybe it's a bunch of bad episodes in a row, or maybe it's a couple of bad seasons. Or maybe an episode can do something so horrendously abysmal that it makes you vow to never watch the show again. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a bad one today.
I mean, Family Guy as a whole isn't great, let's be honest. I don't know what he's getting at here.
One of the most horrifically bad episodes that I've ever seen from any show ever.
This is from like 2014, this video.
It is,
so.
And we'll get to why that is. Speaking of that, Family Guy is probably the adult equivalent of SpongeBob. It started out decently and had a certain charm to it, but over the years, it got bad. I mean, we all know about the episode Not All Dogs Go to Heaven, where it's basically saying that...
Okay, so far I agree. I'm just saying it. Thus far, I agree with the sentiment on display here.
all religious people are bigoted idiots, and that God doesn't exist because some women are not physically attractive. This is because the show has a massive ego. It was killed and came back twice. You cannot kill Family Guy, and the show knows it. Now on to this episode in particular, which is probably the worst cartoon episode ever made. The story starts with the Griffin family watching the news about a hurricane. Ah yes, this is part of a special where all three of Seth MacFarlane's shows had an episode involved during the same hurricane. Interesting idea for a ratings trap, but this episode doesn't have anything to do with any of the others.
I'm bored. Let's move on. Let's go to the most recent.
You know, it's been about 5 years since Family Guy killed off Brian Griffin. It doesn't seem that long ago, but...
Oh, he's got him. He's got Seth MacFarlane up against the wall. Him and his boys are just going to take turns crapping directly into Seth MacFarlane's mouth here. Because look, the animated, well, I say animated, the partially moving slideshow cartoon critic avatar has got his hand out. And he's kind of looking. If he crosses his arms, MacFarlane is done.
It really has been half a decade now. Looking back, I may have gotten a little bit too outraged at the time. You see, I reviewed Life of Brian when it originally came out, and I had some choice words to say about the episode. I called it many things. Life of Brian to me was the definition of a ratings trap or a jumping the shark moment. It's something that a show does when it's desperately running on fumes, trying to do just anything to get people talking about it again. After all, we knew that Brian Griffin was going to die in the episode, even before we knew the title of the episode. And when we did learn the title, let's just say that it was kind of insulting. And not just because we previously had an episode.
So did he do did he do a video on Life of Brian? Yes, he did. So much earlier, he's done a video on Life of Brian here, right? Now, the first chunk of this video about Christmas Guy, he's just talking about Life of Brian again.
The former Life of Brian. You know, the one that's not about Brian Griffin's death. I said that the episode did things that only hackneyed fanfictions do. The episode, in my opinion, basically removed any of Brian's rough edges to make his death seem a lot more depressing than it had any right to be. This was the Brian Griffin that told Meg that God didn't exist because she was ugly.
If there were a God, would he have put you here on Earth with a flat chest and a fat ass?
After selling out his own beliefs to get booze. The same Brian Griffin who also sold out his beliefs to get his awful book published. The Brian Griffin who told Meg to stay in an abusive relationship for her abuser's benefit. None of this is present in Life of Brian.
Oh, he's pointing, guys, he's pointing. We're in trouble.
Made it seem very transparent to me how disingenuous it all was. They weren't telling a story about this particular character's death, but just a story about death
really
placed on a blank slate.
Because I really like the Orville.
Lines like this.
I'm a huge fan of the Orville. I think season 2 was fucking amazing. And I know that season 3 is on its way, but I'm worried it'll get cancelled. If he crosses his arms, Seth might just take his own life. I'm scared.
God, look at this day, huh? You know, usually I'd be sitting inside writing, you'd be working on one of your machines, but here we are enjoying it.
It came off as very melodramatic, but after all this time, I have to say that because of Life of Brian, I'm skipping forward. Respect Family Guy. I mean, I haven't watched the show lately,
uncrossed.
But the decision to kill the character and keep them dead is definitely something that can be lauded, especially with a show that doesn't usually.
Have to see if we can find some.
And it finishes with a weird, stupid skit that I would probably make, so I'm not going to criticize him for. Well, yep, that was a waste of time. Let's go! Okay, I clicked the mouse button down, but my mouse is a bit shit, so that didn't really go the way I planned.
Read recently, the latest Pixar film. What took me so long to see this one?
Look at the ratio. Look at the ratio. Look at the ratio.
For a couple of reasons. Most notably, the trailer. Like, I think that even people who like this movie will agree that the trailer is really, really bad. Personally, it showed me that everything I didn't like in a movie would be in this one, with a super in-your-face attitude. And it didn't really make any argument.
I don't get, like, the mouth shape with these, you know, these characters start to... Their mouths look like jelly beans. I don't like that.
Arguments of how a transformation
and I like jelly
into a red
beans,
panda
so
can
I don't
actually
know.
carry a movie. It seemed like an incredibly light, simple premise. And the other reason that I didn't want to watch Turning Red at first was because if I did, I knew I'd have to talk about it. And if I knew I had anything other than super glowing praise for it, we were going to have another Turtles situation. So I watched the film.
Again, I'm not big into Mysterious Mr. Enter. I don't know too much of the lore. So if anybody in the chat could tell me what the Turtles situation was.
And I have something other than super glowing praise for it. And now I'm going to talk about it. With the chaos and the drama this movie has caused, it's really tempting to just go one way or the other. Praise it for being shocking and daring and tackling new ground. Or to go in the other direction.
What new ground? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know much about this movie, but from what I understand, it's just like a kid's movie. It's just like a dumb Disney movie where something weird and magical happens.
And absolutely eviscerate the film. It's really cementing itself with the Ghostbusters effect. It's not a movie, it's a political argument. Like Thundercats Roar, High Guardian Spice, or Masters of the Universe Revelation before it.
I don't remember a ton of discourse around Thundercats Roar that wasn't about the crappy art style. Like, it's a political discussion. No, it fucking isn't. Like, maybe I'm living in a bubble here, but I don't remember anybody complaining about the fucking politics of Thundercats Roar. I remember people saying, wow, this animation sure sucks.
Or She-Ra, or I can keep going on. These arguments are largely annoying, and they shouldn't be engaged in on any side of the argument, whether you're a defender or a detractor. If you're a detractor, it elevates the status of the movie and gives it more importance than it really deserves. If you're a defender, you obscure the actual merits of the movie and turn it into a target, which actually does hurt the artists in the long run.
How does standing up for a movie do it harm? I mean, I agree that an artist's work should speak for itself, and it shouldn't need people to defend it. However, there are films I like that other people don't like. There are films I love that are massively unpopular. And if I stand up for them, I don't see how I'm harming the film. Your point makes little sense.
And hurts the actual political headway of whatever movement you're arguing for even more. Oh, that's not even mentioning that you're playing pawns to billion-dollar corporations that have packaged your personal values and have sold them back to you.
Oh my god, so woke.
Turning Red is a mixed bag. Actually, I don't even know if that's the best way to describe it. It is the Pixar film that I am the most mixed on. There are Pixar films that I absolutely love, like Soul, WALL-E, or Ratatouille.
Soul? Who the fuck saw Soul? You went and saw Soul? I mean, I guess you review cartoons for a living, which obviously is really cool. So I guess it's your job to see every animated film that comes out. But at the same time, nobody saw Soul.
There are Pixar films I don't like Cars 2. And then there are Pixar films I don't care about, like A Bug's Life or The First Cars. Turning Red is a film I'd probably like if it wasn't for some glaring problems that took me right out of the experience time and again.
Just say the 9/11 thing, it's why we're here. I don't know when he says it, I don't know what the context is, but fuck me if I'm not excited for the 9/11 thing.
So Turning Red stars an Asian Canadian...
I think someone up there is going to take the voice clip of me saying I was excited for 9/11 and use that against me.
Girl named Miley, growing up in Toronto in 2002, where one night she learns that she becomes a giant red panda whenever she feels any particularly strong emotions. This is complicated by the fact that she has an overbearing mother, is going through middle school...
Thank you very much, Samantha, for the $2. He saw a security guard with a turban and thought of 9/11. God, I actually really hope that's how it comes about. Naki Hollis, thank you very much for the $9.99. Very generous. Hello, Jacob. Just you today? Yes, sorry that the guys aren't here. Although Gemma might be joining us, depending on how long this takes. Also, Mr. Enter is one of my favourite bad YouTubers. The turtle situation is when he watched like 5 episodes of the last TMNT cartoon and said it was trash. I haven't seen it. I stopped watching Ninja Turtles. I never was really into Ninja Turtles, to be honest. But, yeah, I haven't seen it. The last Ninja Turtles thing I saw was Turtles Forever, which I didn't like, so...
School and puberty. It's a fairly simple movie despite all the drama, and yet there's a ton to talk about. I'm going to start with what held me back from actually enjoying the movie, and that is May's mother, Ming. I'm gonna be dead straight with you. I hated this character so much that I thought I would have to stop watching the movie. Ming is a helicopter parent, the type who controls every little thing about their child's life and are super panicked that a slight deviation from their plan will harm their child. So they create this self-fulfilling prophecy, where they hurt their child so much more than the rest of the world could. Every time that Ming was on screen, I was angry. The two most infamous bits you've probably heard of, when she finds drawings of May's crush and drives her down to the store to show the boy in them what May did. And the other time is when she came down to school unprompted to try and give May menstrual pads.
So, I might not have been looking. I was probably looking at the chat if this character came up on the screen earlier. But I now see a security guard with a turban. And I'm really, really excited as to where this might be going.
Without any self-awareness that she was doing it in front of her whole class. There's also a third moment that really struck me, and that's when May goes to Tyler's party, and Ming was so blind to any possible reasons that May might rebel, especially after the first 2 incidents.
Holy shit, you know, he talked about how this film was, like, bold. You've got a Disney parent that doesn't understand their kid and what they're going through, and probably has good intentions, but comes across almost like the villain. It broke new ground!
That she basically stops May from seeing her friends. Every time Ming was on screen, this was some of the most uncomfortable a Disney Pixar film has ever made me feel. And need I remind you that this is a film about...
Vic, I'm so sorry you missed the Kickstarter. We had a fucking good time with that. And then we got distracted by a different product that was like aftershave in a pill that got fully funded. Weird.
Puberty, in which the problem is solved with twerking. So, defenders will rush and say that this behavior is accurate, especially in Asian communities. And there's a kernel of truth to the kernel of truth here. Asian communities are definitely at least stereotypically strict in upbringing. So, pardon my ignorance. Is it realistic to take a child's drawing of a crush, drag her down to a convenience store, and confront the person in said drawing in a store full of people? Especially if you were under the delusion that these things actually happened, despite one of the drawings being the boy as a merman. Is it really real?
Yeah, if you're under the delusion that a person who is old enough to work somewhere was involved in a romantic situation with your small child, yeah, you might go down and confront them angrily. You know, I feel like that's a thing that could very realistically happen. Not that realism is tremendously important here, Mr. Enter, because this is a film about a little girl who turns into a red panda.
Realistic to try and directly give menstrual pads to someone and not leave them with a nurse at school. Ming's behavior is too over the top. Actually, no, it's not. That's actually the problem. The problem is that it's realistic. It's something that could feasibly happen if you were one of the worst, most brain-dead people on Earth. It's not like, say, Doofenshmirtz, who also had a hard upbringing. So hard that neither of his parents showed up for his actual...
That's a comedy show. Why are you comparing the two? These things are unrelated. Like, I'm sure there's levity and humor in Turning Red, but it's not a comedy film in the same way.
birth. If you want to talk about realism, we need to talk about Encanto.
Absolutely, yes. When you want to talk about realism, we need to talk about the all singing, all dancing, magical family. By the way, spoilers here for Encanto. It's been out a little while, so, you know, I'm going to spoil something. They shouldn't have got their fucking magic back. The whole movie only works if they actually learn that they don't need their magic. Them getting it back is a fucking cop-out. That's unrelated, but I had to get that off my chest.
This was a Disney film also about generational trauma, which seems to be the theme of the season. Mirabel's grandmother was guilty of pretty much the same things, being overly controlling, trying to keep her family in the perfect boxes that she imagined for them. Of course, Encanto didn't make me want to smash my computer because it was subtle.
So yeah, Encanto was subtle. I hated this character in Encanto. I wanted to push her off a cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff, I hoped there would be sharks. Sharks carrying little knives and forks. And a cooking pot. I wanted her to be eaten by sharks. I fucking hated this character.
You could constantly understand the reasons that Alma was doing the things that she was doing, even if you didn't agree with them. And in the end, you want to see Alma get better, not have her taken away in the back of a police car.
That's true. He's got a point there. It was satisfying. It was not satisfying to see her improve and confront why she'd been horrible, and it was nice to see her get forgiven. Yeah, that's all good stuff. And all that happens, it's like, oh, we've lost our magic and everything, and they give them the magic back, and it kills the entire fucking movie.
This is
it's okay, I'm over
like
it.
trying to redeem Doofenshmirtz's parents and doing it in a realistic way, and have it all heartfelt at the end. This is not a combination that works. Ming doesn't come across as understandably or realistically strict at any point in the movie. She comes across as psychotic. Luckily for the film, anytime that Ming isn't on screen, the movie gets a lot better. I wouldn't call it one of Pixar's best, still, but it would have been a tier above something like Onward, which felt a lot like wasted potential. Part of the Ming problem actually comes from the movie's style. It is very much in your face, and takes a lot of cues from anime, with even mundane things being shot as over the top as possible, which is a baffling choice if you're making something that's supposed to tell some kind of down-to-earth lesson. This movie really feels like it was made for the TikTok generation. I mean, it was, obviously. It was released in 2022, but the movie also takes place in 2002.
Oh,
and
God.
that creates
Say it.
many problems with the film.
Okay, I feel like we're coming up to it, boys. Again, I think it's got to be around here somewhere, right? He's now addressed the period setting. We're gonna get to the 9/11 thing.
Like, I hear some of the slang in this film, like the word besties, and while that term did apparently exist way back when, you would not be hearing that in middle school.
I don't know. I don't even know what middle school is, because I'm English, but I definitely heard that expression in those days.
The movie also overestimates how common cell phone use was among middle schoolers at the time. It wasn't until the mid to late 2000s when cell phones became a common thing in middle schools. Like, unless the...
Again, I'm not sure what middle school is, but everybody I know, like that phone, like the Nokia 3310 style, everybody I know had that phone. I don't know if it was as early as 2002, but that when that phone was popular, everybody fucking had it.
Family was rich. Even the adults at the time would be using beepers. The anime style also feels off due to the time period. While anime did exist in the West, obviously, besides Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball, Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, it was pretty niche.
You say that. So in the 2000s, I was a kid when this film was set. I was a young child. Judging by the what people are saying middle school is, I was around the age that the characters are in this. And granted, I went to a boys' school, so we didn't really like that stuff, but every girl that I knew was into anime. Like, all of them. And when I started going to an after-school karate class, there were a lot of girls there. And, like, all of them were into anime. All of them. This was in the early to mid-2000s. You're talking about anime like it's some weird niche thing that people only started watching, like, recently. But back then, and I know because I was there, kids really liked that stuff. And it was easy to get because of fucking physical media. Like, you didn't have to go on the primitive internet to try to find it. You could go to fucking Blockbuster, and they had like a section in a world cinema section in the Blockbuster that was full of fucking anime. In like 2004, I remember seeing that shit. Go down there with my fucking parents and pick up garbage movies like Blood the Last Vampire. And I ended up accidentally seeing Legend of the Overfiend.
To like 2005. Then we started getting tricklings of things like Zatch Bell, One Piece, and so on. I mean, anime definitely was there, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the styling of the time. Speaking of which, by 2002, boy bands were on the way out. That is literally the year that Justin Timberlake went solo, effectively ending the craze for a decade. 2002 wasn't a very in-your-face time either. It was quiet. It was grungy. Linkin Park was one of the biggest bands in the world. Everyone was emotional and full of angst. Like, there's one...
You talk about angst. Come on, we've got to be coming up to the... We've absolutely got to be coming up to the 9/11 thing soon, right? I was just talking about, like, oh, the 2000s weren't very, like, bombastic and in your face, and I'm just thinking the big, like, we have a lot of comic book movies today. Like, the big comic book movies of 2002 were Blade 2 and Spider-Man 1. Like, not exactly the most subtle, quiet movies.
Guy in the school who has this emo look, and yeah, that is 2002, right there. The whole movie should look like that. And that's partially because there's an elephant in the room that you do have to realize if you want to say, golly, geez, let's set this film in 2002 for no reason.
He's gonna do it,
this
guys, he's gonna do it.
Less than a year after the September 11th terrorist attacks. I bring this up because it radically altered the culture of the time in ways that make this movie feel
like I knew he was gonna do it, but I wasn't prepared. Fuck me. Alright guys, Gemma just walked in. I'm gonna very quickly mute and everything, but I will be right back. Okay, I'm unmuting. Gemma is here. I'm going to play her. She went, why the fuck were you cackling?
Yeah.
She's just coming from work. She's got her work clothes on, looks exhausted, and I'm going to subject her to what I just subjected all of you to.
realize if you want to say, golly, geez, let's set this film in 2002 for no reason. This film takes place less than a year after the September 11th terrorist attacks. I bring this up because it radically altered the culture of the time.
What? What was that?
Now, you can't see her face. The face is doing a lot of the heavy lifting right now, but...
I just got in from work, Cole. Why?
because this was my inbox today on social media, and I wanted to share it with you.
Yes, the 2002 was a different time.
I know, and if you're going to set your kids' giant red panda movie in 2002, you have to talk about 9/11.
I mean, obviously. I mean, that wouldn't be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I love how it came right after talking about how everyone should look emo. That's another thing, like, maybe we're a bit behind in the UK, but, like, the emo craze was, like, way later in my memory. That was, like, 2007.
So the emo craze.
I tend to think of it like Spider-Man movies, right? So, like, bright and colourful, and beanie hats, and looking a bit like Fred Durst, and having a chain on your jeans. 2002. That's Spider-Man 1 era, right?
Yeah.
By the time you get to Spider-Man 3 era, that's when you got the skinny jeans and the t-shirts that don't fit properly and the bad fringe.
Yeah, like emo stuff kind of started around about the time that bands like Hawthorne Heights and that were big over in America. And it
I
was
don't know who that is.
It was the and Jimmy Eat World, like the kind of like the glasses, like the sort of black glasses, and they're wearing lots of cardigans. And then it went really to and then I think when My Chemical Romance became really big, that's when the kind of whole black hair, black eyeliner, white face, red eyeliner that makes you look like you've got pink eye.
Yeah.
That was sort of the big thing, maybe in sort of the mid 2000s, at least over here.
All right. Well, I'm going to disappear for a moment just so I can sort Gemma's food out and everything, but I will be right back, guys. Thank you so much. We will finish the video. I'm just going to disappear for a couple of minutes. All right. Sorry to have disappeared for a moment, guys. Just sorting out Gemma's food because she has been at work and I have not. I have been working pretty crazily lately, but I managed to get today off, despite it being Easter Monday. I had to work Good Friday, Easter Saturday, Easter Sunday. Not that I'm complaining too much. I have the kind of job where the harder I work, the more money I make. So working hard was good. It yielded good results. But man, does my back, legs, arms, plural. It's all painful. So let's return to a different kind of pain. The Turning Red review.
Cool. I have only one day off this week. What am I in for?
In ways that make this movie feel exceptionally ignorant of the time. Even though, literally, the only reason I can comprehend that this movie is set explicitly in 2002 is because the director grew up in that exact year. Yes, this film takes place in Canada, not the United States, but all over the Western world. Canada, America, the UK, much of Europe. People were paranoid because 9/11 wasn't the only terror attack that had happened.
Please don't.
It was the major theme.
Please don't talk about what was happening in the UK. Mr. Enter, I don't feel that you're qualified to discuss it.
Of the decade. I mean, I can understand not wanting everyone to be so fearful, as that goes against the tone that the movie is trying to establish. But then you have very awkward moments if you actually were there and you do actually remember the time period. Like, the moment with Ming, this strange adult standing outside the school with a box. An adult that no one wants to account for, completely trying to obscure her appearance and getting attention of the kids in the school. In real world 2002, she wouldn't just be confronted by the school security guard, she would be tackled by the police and hauled in. Like, here's the thing. If they picked 1999 or 2000 or literally any year that was not 2002, this movie's setting would make a lot more sense. 1999, I could buy the in-your-face attitude, the boy band stuff. That was an optimistic year, despite everything else going on at the time. And on top of that, the movie doesn't get anything at all by setting itself in 2002. The boy band Four Town could have been replaced with any other musical act. The lack of cell phones and surveillance technology doesn't matter because May was caught on the news, and being hidden really isn't a goal in this film. I mean, I wouldn't set it in 2022, obviously, but taking place in just a vague, unspecified time like any other Disney Pixar film would have done this one so much favor. Take away Ming, and you take away the setting, and what's left with the film? You have a nice little story about a girl having something supernatural happening to her and going through it with her friends. And that is a nice part of the film. It's amazing, really. What the trailers made look like was going to be the worst part.
Chats that came in while I was making food, or rather reheating food that I made earlier. So I'm going to read those.
Basically, all I'm getting from this is, we get it, Mr. Enter. You want to write your post 9/11 movie where everyone's sad.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Right, I'll go back as far as I can. I don't know if I already read this one. Benny Go Home. If I already read this, don't worry about it. But if I didn't, thank you for the $2 Canadian, just like the good old days after 9/11. Nagi Hollis, thank you for the $4.99. 9/11 changed the cultural, I assume you mean the cultural, you're missing a word here, but the cultural landscape or whatever, of America. So does he want everyone to be super racist? What's his point? I don't know. It would be funny if the rest of the movie was just like, man, the Patriot Act is really fucking terrible, and there's a horrible excuse to racially profile people. Thank you very much for the $4.99, Mike K27.
Hey, Mike's a call.
I remember September 12th. My entire first grade class came in with their hair dyed black and Linkin Park shirts. It really was a different time. Absolutely right, yeah. The moment the towers fell, everyone just started listening to Linkin Park. Samantha, thank you very much for the $2. 9/11 is Mr. Enter's villain origin story. Yeah, Mr. Enter has finally Mr. Entered his Joker arc. All right.
Yeah,
The film.
why didn't Spider-Man address 9/11? That came out in 2002.
I mean, it was... So, there is a shot in the movie where you can see, because they didn't have time to remove it, you can see the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in those reflective eyes that he has when he's got the suit on.
Oh yeah,
It's like a really fast like close up when he does the web shooting thing. So there's like very quick Sam Raimi cuts. That's really cool, but it's just reflected there. And you think, oh crap. That's a
Which
shame.
is actually in the end probably its saving grace. May and her friends.
The Twin Towers.
No, it would have been better if Spider-Man could have stopped the plane but chose not to. That's how you make a morally complicated character. That's how Zack Snyder's Spider-Man would have behaved.
Have
That's too easy a joke. And to be honest, the characters in his movies are actually mostly heroic, and people act like they aren't, but they are.
very good chemistry. I just wish the film could
Except Batman.
be only about that, and it took more cues from something like Stand By
And The Flash. But in real life. Just Ezra Miller in real life, I'm talking about.
Me. Because every time that it's not about that, the film struggles, and it struggles hard. Like, there's also May's father, Jin. He says like 2 words throughout the entire film, and then towards the end he decides that he wants to be an actual character, out of nowhere. The film is clunky. That's the best way to describe it. Which side of okay it's on depends on my mood, but it is vastly below Pixar's average. Or, well, it would have been 15 years ago. Oh yeah, there's also the puberty thing. It is really underplayed, and the controversy is blown mega out of proportion. Beyond the metaphor of May turning into a red panda, you're not going to get much besides menstrual pads. Like, you could watch this film and think that the only symptom of going through puberty for May is turning into a giant red panda. And this is something that I'm getting really tired of happening, by the way. I don't know whether to call it shock advertisement or an offshoot of
Wait, I'm really tired that movies don't have more periods in them. What are you saying?
rainbow capitalism, where Disney and its stands say that everyone has to go see X, Y, and Z film and absolutely love it because it's so daring, so brave. You know, like how they add in a literal gay wink and a nudge, so they can claim that they have the first LGBT character in their film for the 20th time, in such a small role that they can remove it for international audiences. You want animation that's daring? Watch...
He's right there, though. It just makes me think of the Patrick Bateman meme where it's like, very nice. Let's see the Chinese version.
Brace face.
Well, that's a copyright claim right there.
No, I'm not kidding. That show actually had a period episode with things like menstrual cramps mentioned, which aired in 2001. That was more than 20 years ago. And if you're not keeping score, that happened before this movie even took place. Cartoons were more daring and diverse back then than you probably give them credit for, and definitely more than the industry does today.
I really want to know.
But also, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, who thinks that we need a Pixar movie that's, like, heavily leaning into period cramps?
Like,
And they're like, damn, there is blood coming out of my body, and I am emotional and in pain. Yeah, that's a fun movie. That's a fun movie for kids.
Not so much with films, but actual on-television animation, yes. It was probably more diverse back then than it is now, even.
Like, I remember there was an episode of King of the Hill about Connie getting her period.
yeah, me
It
too.
was like, yeah, decent episode, I guess. This is like, why do you need that to be the main story in your giant red panda movie? I don't know.
You want to talk Asian characters animation? American Dragon Jake Long, Life and Time of Juniper Lee, Jackie Chan Adventures, Yume from Code Lyoko, Hi Hi Puffy Yumi. And that is also ignoring shows that try to showcase many or all ethnicities, like Class of 3000 or Hey Arnold. I'm not going to give easy credit for things that have already been done and done better 20 years ago. Or more, in the case of Hey Arnold. But if you want to keep giving credit to a mega corporation that stole your values and is trying to sell them back to you, keep on praising every little scrap of things that they will keep removing for an international market. Because the only color that Disney and these other corporations care about is green.
Oh, he did it! Stay woke. Stay woke. That was something else. Oh, okay, so what have we learned? We've learned that movies aimed at children should talk more about violent acts of global terrorism, that they should talk more about sanitary products, and that he doesn't understand that a character who is supposed to be bad and is the sort of de facto villain for the story, he doesn't understand that that's something a story often needs. Not always, but more often than not, a story needs an antagonist.
Yep.
And without an antagonist, depending on the type of story you're telling, it can feel a little hollow. So I don't get why he always gets angry that a film has a villain. It's just like, this person's so fucking evil, and they're really just morally terrible. I'm like, yeah, they're the bad guy, dude. They're meant to be.
The antagonist doesn't mean that they're like a villain. They're just the problem.
Well,
that
yeah.
They can be the problem that the protagonist has to solve.
Well,
in order for the final act to conclude.
Generally, his videos seem to be doing quite well. I mean, like, that one...
hey, did you guys...
You know, so here, like, Enter's Corner, high like ratio, and the Atrocities.
You know, I don't know why, but I thought...
fairly decent like ratio. Not amazing, but decent. These are all recent videos, so for whatever reason, the Turning Red one... I mean, it's not, like, for whatever reason, like, it's horrific. Like, it absolutely is an awful video, but I don't know. Oh, here we go. That's more like it. Look at that ratio.
By the way, this is just like this is me being mean a little bit for the sake of being mean, but I have to address this. You know, Mr. Enter's been making videos for a while. He's an animator, from what I remember.
To an extent.
His art has not improved.
Yeah, it's not great.
Like, he can draw better than me, for damn sure, but you always see people progress. I haven't seen this man progress with his drawing. And I'm pretty sure he wanted to make an animated series.
Oh yeah, before you got here, we looked at his Kickstarter. It was hysterical. Thank you, Kenzie, for the $4.99. Let's not pretend for 1 minute that if this movie took place in the year 1999, Mr. Enter wouldn't bitch about Y2K not being addressed. That's because, you know, it's got nothing to do with terrorism. Thank you, Samantha, for the $2. Mr. Enter knows where the minions were from between 1939 and 1945. Fucking hell, Lulu Lovecats says, I'm glad this man is asexual and will never procreate. Ouch. That's him typing, not me. Very loud typing. Oh my god, his mic's worse than mine.
I think.
Dude, you have two... Like, I get that you're live streaming and you're maybe not paying attention. Like, when you do a video, you can add music and do noise reduction and post and shit. And streams, it's the same because I'm doing a live stream right now and the quality is worse here than it would be on Bad Creepypasta. But you've got significantly more subscribers than I have. Look at that. And listen to the quality of his audio. It sounds like he's in a bathroom. Exciting content.
Hello.
Fucking dead air. Just play music or something, man. Do it.
This...
If you don't know what you're gonna do at the beginning of the stream, do a pre-stream. All right. Maybe you could have a handsome background of perhaps I don't know, just spitballing here, a lovely red curtain and a big sun is just starting now. You know, I feel like if a person does that, they're probably extremely athletic and good looking.
The video first.
Just a vibe, you know, that I get, that I would get as a viewer. So somebody in his chat, in Mr. Enter's live chat, says, it's always nice to hear your voice. I don't know what voice you're hearing versus the one I can hear, but I don't know, I disagree.
It has been forever since I've done this.
Thank you, Mike, for the $4.99. Disney just cares about green. Anyway, here's my end card, which has my Patreon link and top patrons and nothing else on it.
So let's see here. Mute that.
It's just him going, like a minute in, and it's just him going, He sounds like Tina from Bob's Burgers.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just thinking,
Genuinely, I didn't realize I paused it. The moment I unpaused it, he just went, It's literally the exact second.
There we go. Gonna.
Maybe this is a show
Gonna
reel for him
expand
playing,
this a bit.
Like for him doing the death rattle for the Grudge movie
That's too much expansion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the Grudge movie, that came out about the same time that the Turning Red is set, right? Maybe in his Grudge movie, it'll be set in the 2000s, and they'll talk heavily about 9/11.
And it's going great.
Ju-on came out in 2002.
Hey, you saw us on Twitter. Yay.
But the American remake came out in 2004, which is post 9/11.
Why? Oh, that's because it's paused. Yes, it's Mordecai. I've used this picture before.
I agree with that guy in the chat that wagtails are cute as hell. Wagtails are fucking
yeah,
cute.
it's a blue jay. I took it like years ago. I am just getting over being sick.
Oh my god, look at this fucking stream.
So you might hear a couple of coughs, a little bit of whatever.
Let's have a look in the comments section. I know there's a little like live chat here. Oh, it's people even in the chat at the time, like fans of his, are just like, bruh, your complaint about turning red was absolutely bizarre. Seriously, what does 9/11 have to do with the movie at all? Somebody here says about a quote from his review. I was irked by the statement you said, like, pardon my ignorance, but is it realistic to take your child's drawings and take them to the etc.? Like, you don't know Asian parents. And JIC, people come for me, I'm Asian. Okay, I don't know what he means by JIC. I'm a Filipino with Chinese descent. My mother once took my notebook because it had fanfics and me and my crush on it. Took it to my crush and asked if they groped me because my mum thought it was my diary. Asian mums' parents don't care if it's embarrassing as long as their child. Well, that's kind of what I said. I didn't like racialize it, but I said, yeah, parents are like that if they think someone's, fucking molesting their kids. I don't think that's an Asian thing. I think generally most people are anti-child molestation unless they work for Netflix.
Yeah.
I hate this mouse button. It barely clicks 1 out of every 3 times, and I can't dramatically say something like a mic drop a moment and then click to play. It doesn't work.
It's weird. It's
frustrating
I'm
as hell.
actually okay right now.
You sound okay.
Maybe you should watch the video and then you'll figure out what I said. Cardinals are cool, but they're pretty rare around here. Am I having...
Peter, thank you very much for the $4.99. First a stream from Scalagrim and now one from you. Today is a good day. And on top of it all, I'm going to graduate from university in a few weeks. Congratulations on graduating. Are you continuing your studies, doing masters and everything? Or are you going straight into the workforce? Or something else? Thank you, Naki Hollis, for the US 99. Very generous. Just wanted to let you know that you probably don't remember, but I was writing a story and put the first chapter on the Discord. Would love to get your feedback. It's not a creepypasta, just a story. I'll try to get my feedback to you. I've got some other stories, I think, at the moment that I still haven't looked at. Like somebody sent me one ages ago, that's waiting for it. Basically, people send me their stories a lot. It's a thing. It doesn't happen now, thankfully, like it used to. It used to be like a weekly thing. So I'm like, can you look at my story? I'm like, oh my god. Now it's like every couple of months someone will send me a link to their story. But yeah, it used to be much more common, and thankfully it's cooled off a bit because it's hard to do it all when you have a day job. This is, making silly YouTube videos is not my job.
Mental breakdown? No, I'm treating the cesspit as it is.
Have a look at, but now that I have a job,
my favorite Pixar movie is Soul.
Tell you what, I would watch the stream, but you're just waffling about this. Well, to be fair, I'm just kind of continuing with crap because I finished the points I was going to make. So everything I was gonna, everything I had to say, I kind of already said. But I want to wrap it up in a minute. But I wanted to see what this weird live stream was that had so many dislikes was all about. So sorry if it's not tremendously entertaining, but other people seem to be having a good time. So yeah, sorry that it's not up to the standards of that one guy, I guess. But I feel like I made some good points earlier in the stream and we had a good time. So there might be something in the replay for you to enjoy. Otherwise, go do something else, have a good night. And hopefully the next stream will be more to your taste. I have pressed play, by the way. That's just dead fucking silence.
The biggest mistake I've made as a content creator, without ill intent, probably a lot of
Is he actually going to read any of the... He says he's trending on Twitter, but it's like, is he ever going to read any of these fucking tweets?
Thoughts on Luca. I thought Luca was okay.
Oh my god, this is
Turning
Darla's dishwater.
red video. But I thought...
Yeah, let's just go through the fucking comment section before we wrap up. Stream within a stream. Yeah, pretty much. The mysterious Mr. Dead Air. Yeah, honestly. But the thing is, it makes me aware of like my dead air, because like I'll be pausing to speak to listen to what I'm, you know, making fun of and hear their arguments and things. But on this particular live stream that he's done here, he's just pausing for lengthy periods of time.
My old biology teacher used to do that in the middle of reading out the register. He used to just like he'd maybe get to like he'd read out maybe like the first 5 names, and then he'd pause for 5 minutes. And I'm not exaggerating. He would pause for that length of time, and then he would continue.
That's bizarre. That's really fucking bizarre.
It was like he had like a brain lapse that he was supposed to be teaching a class.
All right, let's have a quick look. Stop acting like you made Twitter angry and people are wrong for making fun of your take. What you said was hilarious, mentioning 9/11 in your Turning Red review, and that's why people are joking about it. Never seen a review that missed this consistently with each individual take. Excuse me. For fuck's sake. Sorry, terrible phlegm all of a sudden in my throat. Let's be fair. It's not the first time I've criticized you. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, leave the comments on. Yes, well, he's done that. I'll give him that. I've never heard a reviewer more in love with his own voice than you. That's true. Just deeply cringe to watch an adult man piss his pants publicly like this. Yes. Yeah, for God's sake, if you're going to start having a meltdown on stream, you know. My microphone, for example, has a little mute button on. So if I can feel it starting to go wrong, I can just hit that mute button.
Mr. Enter must be turning red with embarrassment after that. I'm here all night.
Oh, okay. You sorry, Twin TVs. Misunderstanding there. The chap I was responding to actually was enjoying the stream, was trying to come up with a joke and hit send while he was still typing. So I only got half of it and not the punchline. But that's okay. But like I said at the time, if anyone wasn't enjoying it, there's other streams that hopefully you will. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. I don't think I can take any more. Because fuck me, is the live stream he made boring. I can see why it got so many dislikes.
I thought it might...
I'm going to skip forward a little bit, see if I can find
I guess
anything of value.
I think that was going to happen.
Okay, that's fucking dead silence.
Yeah, no. I haven't seen Powerpuff Girls Z.
Damn it.
That's dead silence.
Lime flavored things.
Oh, he's talking this time.
Lemons and limes are a bit too sour for me on their own.
He's talking about citrus fruit, though.
I think I've seen clips of that Pinocchio, if it's the one you're talking about.
My God. 262,000 subscribers, and that's what his content is like. Yeah, bad content, as always. That's kind of what these little streams are about. But we addressed the 9/11 thing. It was very funny. Ultimately, what do I think of Mr. Enter's content, having explored a little bit of it this evening? From what I see, it's bad. Like, he has probably some good videos in here, too.
Well,
there's some that have really good like-to-dislike ratios. Animated Atrocities seems to be doing very well. Some of these have... look at this one's got 5 million views, and most of them have approaching 2 million. So very strong numbers there and good likes and everything. So I don't feel bad because I'm punching up, as always. It's we're always punching up on the YouTube streams.
Basically, for me, if anyone wants to watch YouTubers that do videos on animation and animate films, you're better off watching Shifrella's productions or What's the other one? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Shafrella's Productions, or maybe Phantom Strider. I haven't seen him do it.
I really don't like Phantom Strider.
I haven't watched a video of his in a long time.
Okay, so this is really, really mean, but Phantom Strider kind of looks like an alien to me, or a synthetic life form. He has Mark Zuckerberg energy. He doesn't look like Mark Zuckerberg, but he has that same like weird, I am a reptile disguised as a human vibe going for him. And that's off-putting to me. I think when you're making content, you have to, at the very least, be able to emulate the mannerisms and vocal cadence of a human being. I think that's the bare minimum.
Fair enough.
Which is why it's baffling to me that like Chills and Creeps McPaster have an audience. At least Chills never groomed anybody, and neither did Phantom Strider, by the way. I'm talking exclusively about Creeps McPaster there.
Yeah, last time I watched a video of his was about 5 or 6 years ago, so I don't know how he does now. But like,
yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks, guys, for coming along. This is and thanks to everybody who messaged me earlier about this. I kind of found out about it off Instagram, but I got a bunch of DMs as well. So thanks to everybody who messaged me, because I would not have known. I might have seen a couple of the memes and just gone, what the fuck? And I see so many memes that don't have any context. You know, most of the posts I see are just like, I can't remember his name, but that actor is like Sam something, but I forget his surname, who always plays like a cowboy in like, and people use him in like ironic conservative memes. It was like, sorry liberals, but Gillette Fusion Procline. Like, those are the kind of memes I see all the time. Like, they don't need context. So I probably would have seen Red Panda 9/11 and not thought anything of it, and gone, the internet's weird. But having a bit of context for those memes, fuck me, what a strange timeline in which we're living. You guys have been absolutely terrific. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you to everybody for engaging in the chat.
you've got one super chat. Just
all right, let's read that. If you missed the first half, there's I'm going to leave this stream up for a little while. Definitely think you could probably enjoy some of those parts. I certainly had a good time going through the Kickstarter. That was probably my favorite bit. And I wish some of you would have seen that, so I'm going to leave this up for you to check that out, because this Kickstarter is fucking weird. But more importantly, there is an aftershave pill that, like, you open it up and it, like, terraforms a small planet. It's a fucking weird thing that we watched. And I'm going to leave that out there for the world. But thank you to Oscar Rock for the £5. I am also graduating from uni in June, looking to go into audio post-production for film and TV. If you know a sound guy in any future films, let me know. To be honest with you, Oscar, I almost certainly will, because I fucking blow at sound editing. So basically, I don't get too much into it, but I have a condition which certain sounds cause me like pain and all this kind of shit. And it also means that the way I hear things is kind of unbalanced. So I'm fucking horrendous at editing sound, and I always have been. All of my movies have terrible sound editing because I've never been able to hire a sound editing guy. If I know someone who can do sound editing and can sit and work with me, that will make life much easier. So expect an email from me at some point in the not too distant future. Speaking of the not too distant future, X-Men 1. That's when that film's